Welcome to the Linux Saloon, a place to discuss tech, open source, and where Linux is always on tap. Each show will have a talk about a Linux project, such as a distribution, desktop environment, or application. We also chat about the news or any variety of topics from the community, anything that's Linux, tech, and open source related is on the table for discussion. I'm Nate, Linux fitness and vintage tech enthusiast with an almost unhealthy obsession with the open source project. And with me today, I've got Terry Crews. Wait, Terry Crews, isn't that Yeah, Terry Crews. Terry, Cruz, and Jinda. How is everybody?
Excellent.
Excellent.
Hi, I'm doing great.
Fantastic. So,
Nobody can hear me.
yeah, I can hear you. So, Allie just joined again.
Oh, okay.
Hopefully your system's running tip top. Well, you're muted.
Yeah, right.
Hey, I'm back. What's going on?
Yeah, welcome back. Well, on the be sure to do the straw poll if you have not done so. Make sure you knock that out. It's about streaming services, like how many streaming services do you typically use in a month, and so we'll get to that straw poll. We will also on the docket is to talk about streaming services in general. So what we use, maybe what we recommend to use, and also what apps you use to stream if you do use any apps to stream it. So it's an application appetizer, so it's streaming and applications you use to stream as well. So if you can knock out that straw poll, that would be pretty cool. Yes, Heather, I try to talk fast. Sometimes you get a log jam. They're like, I got too many words trying to come out of my mouth at the same time, and then it's like everything gets all, the water gets all backed up. And anyway, what have you been doing in Linux and tech? I just want to share a little fun story for you. So we had some incredible stormy weather come through on Friday. It was like wasn't even in the forecast. Like it was supposed to be like partially cloudy. Even when it was like torrential downpour, raining, the weather app still said chance of rain, and so it didn't actually have rain in the forecast. It was like a really low chance of rain. Anyway, so we had an incredible torrential downpour. Lost power. Good thing I have like a battery backup for the house. And then the water was like such an intense amount of water. Like it came up to the house and actually went up and over the basement window. So I was getting water in the basement, and so it was pretty great. By great I mean not great. So the good part is my sump pump still kept working pretty hard. And I was able to keep the water from getting too high, but thankfully we still had power. So it like the kitchen and living room basically has power and nothing else. But on the downside, no, this was Thursday night. Thursday night this happened. But on the downside of this whole thing, the power surges that happened, anything that wasn't protected, like all my smart switches. I have like 60 some odd smart switches in here. About 23 of them, I think it's about 23. They all basically had an aneurysm and stopped working. So I had to reprogram 23 switches on Friday. Otherwise, lights don't turn on, nothing turns on, and not all the automations are fixed yet. Some of them are, but not all of them. So anyway, yeah, it was good times. So it's good to have battery backups, but it's kind of unfortunate when not everything's backed up, I guess. So good times. First world problems, huh?
Yeah, definitely first world problems. So Nate, you said that you lost some of the switches. So you had to go reprogram each one of them individually one at a time?
Yeah, so thankfully they
Wow.
were able to, they stayed connected to the Wi-Fi, but they just lost their programming, basically, their conditions.
Right.
So the good part was I could access them all remotely, and then I could reset up the program. So I got a script that I basically run in a console, a series of scripts, I should say, and then everything configures back up. But then Home Assistant lost the connection to it, so I had to reestablish that connection. And so things like my three-way switches are not all working yet. Some of my automations are not quite working yet either. So, it is what it is, I guess. But so the good part is if outside of the automations, I'm able to, everything works properly again. So that's fine. But my youngest, he was really annoyed that he couldn't turn the lights on and off in his bedroom. So that was that was annoying for him because he pushed.
So default is on.
No,
Oh
default
no.
default is nothing. It's off.
Oh,
It
default's
doesn't-
nothing.
Yeah, so you have no light. Yeah, and it was at night too. So anyway, it's like some of the switches like lost half of their programming. Like the indicators, they would still turn on and off the lights, but the indicator on the light itself, like the red green indicator, didn't work on a few of the switches. So I just reestablished all that stuff. But yeah, so I guess the downside is that what I did do though is I did change some of the setting in there. So like if there's so basically what is in Tasmoda, there is this feature like you can basically blank the whole thing out. It's a feature if you rapidly turn on and off the power so many times, and that's what blanks it out. So I disabled that. So if I do have another power surge and things turn on and off rapidly, they shouldn't lose their brains again. But we'll see. And the other interesting thing was too, the lights that were left on when the power went out, those were okay. The ones that were off are the ones that had the aneurysm. Which I think it was is because if the lights are drawing power on the circuit, then it didn't have that fluctuation as power was lost. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
because it was sucked up in the lights before it went through the switch. But so Peter, yes, I do know what candles are, and I actually around Christmas time we had the there's the Christmas candle thing. And my kids made a giant mess of wax in my house. Like I kept like having to scrape it off the hardwood floors for weeks after. So no more candles in the house. I'd rather just be walking around and stumbling into things at that point. Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, thanks for that. So excellent. Anybody else have anything exciting happen this week for them? Any exciting tech news? Something break on you? Something I don't know, go sideways?
Oh, I'm
Much
still
the same.
running. Oh, yeah, I'm still running Antex on my laptop, and I'm still very, very happy with it.
Oh, good. That's
It runs very smooth. I'm glad we did that. That worked out very well for me.
Well, that's a great thing. I think Antex is. I keep it on a virtual machine. I have it as like a diagnostic tool now. So I use that anytime I have something that like breaks or like starts acting squirrely. I'll just use the mem test feature on that because it's just really easy just to get going. You just pop it in right there. It's an option. Like Linux used to have that, like they all did, but they don't bundle that so much anymore. The mem test. So anyway, there's that. But well, yeah, fantastic. I'm glad that's working out. Now, how many laptops do you have, or is it just like is it your main machine that you're running Antics on?
Oh no, it's just my toss around cheap
Oh, okay.
and expensive laptop. You know, the one you take outside and you don't care about, and then someone gave it to me for free.
So the one you don't care about,
Because
you run to
right.
Antics. Okay.
Yeah, I like having something that I don't care about that I can carry around. You know, your nice laptop you care about and you keep it nice. And you don't
Right.
take it outside with you with a beer and sit
Right.
in a hammock. You know, it's just a disaster waiting to happen.
That makes
Which
sense.
if this one I destroy, I don't care. But it's my favorite one. I don't know why. I just like it.
Yeah. So the machine that I was issued when I got my new job, it's a Lenovo ThinkPad.
That's what I'm using.
Yeah, it's a P16. It's a 12th generation i7 in there, so it's a pretty peppy machine. It does all right. It holds its own pretty well. It had Windows 11 when I got it, and it ran just absolutely terrible. It was slow. It just booting up was just such a chore with it that I didn't really use it. I ended up using my framework instead, and then just kind of let that one sit. So I swapped it out through an OpenSUSE on a different NVMe, and now. Because that's the one that work issued to me, which I guess I'm the IT manager, so I'm not really sure exactly how I think about this. But that's my laptop that I take with me in case, if I just want to grab something real quick and I don't really want to have to worry about it. That's the one I take because it's the work issued laptop. It's not mine.
Yeah, because if it bites the dust, you don't care.
Then I can just order a new one for me, and then
Right.
work will pay for that. Yeah. So, but I will be using that for some new experimentations. Did I say that right? New experiments, not experimentations. I don't know English today. Me fail English? That's impossible. Anyway, my plan is to set up So we have two different plants in two different parts of the U.S., and I want to tie them together. They have a VPN tunnel now, but remember last year we used Tailscale for some things. Well, I decided I'm now going to try and implement see if I can do a Tailscale tunnel and exit nodes on each side and link the plants together. So we have primary and secondary network connections, like internet. Essentially, we have a fiber, and then for backup, we're using Starlink on both ends. So I want to be able to, if the fiber goes down, which has been going down more often than not, we can't. If we lose internet, we start to lose money very rapidly. So I want to be able to set this up so that if we do lose primary internet, the failover, we can actually use Tailscale, and it'll each side will find each other. That's the plan anyway. I'm hoping that it works out. And anyway, so I'm going to be using that Lenovo laptop to basically be the test dummy to make sure that things actually work. I'll bring the nodes up and down just to verify. But anyway, so Mike Chilson says he has that same laptop running Ubuntu Budgie 2404 LTS. It's zippy fast. Yeah, if you run Linux on a zippy fast machine, it runs great. If you run Windows, it's kind of like a bag of turds. So not for everybody.
That's why somebody gave me the laptop I have.
It ran like a bag of turds.
It ran like a bag of turds, and they're like, "This thing's worthless."
IdeaPad. Okay.
Yeah, the IdeaPad. I have one of those. It was $80 at Best Buy, and it was like a shelf model. Where they're just getting rid of the whole thing, and that's my little crappy one that I used for a long time. But it's just kind of a little bit slow. A little slow.
I like it so far. I haven't really used it very much, but it's pretty comfortable.
Yeah. So if you want to join the conversation, Ricky, thank you for joining. I appreciate you seeing here. Seeing you. What? Again, I'm failing at English again. Thank you for being here. It's good to have you join. If you would like to, if you're in the YouTube and you would like to join the Zoom meeting, and so I can talk less, that would be great. You're free to join. I can put the link right there. Terry's back again. There's two Terrys. It's like Terry Inception now.
Yep.
Yeah, I see two. Good.
I'm switching to another laptop because I'm having issues with one of them.
Oh, okay.
Your Wi-Fi again?
Yep.
It happens. So you see my boy in the background here. He's struggling with fixing a machine. So I don't know if he's going to be able to fix it.
I'm getting feedback on your end because it's her. Okay, there we go.
He's looking at me very frustrated. So I don't have any of you had an issue where the computer's running fine and then all of a sudden it just doesn't even post? Has that ever happened to you?
Yeah, actually once it did.
Did you ever have a fix for that? Besides like reseating the memory, reseating the drives?
Actually, I had to take out the battery for the BIOS.
Yeah, I tried that already too.
And then I shorted out the terminal where the battery was.
Oh, you shorted it out?
Yeah, I shorted it out because what was happening was it wasn't clearing the BIOS. The BIOS was still remembering something stupid, I think, or it was corrupted or something, and that finally put it in reset mode.
Okay.
So what I did was I just shorted it out with an Allen key, actually, and I got it to come back to life. But I don't understand why it did it. I mean, it wasn't like anything I did to it. It was running fine. And I did what you said. I reseated the memory and unplugged everything I possibly could from it and ran it with just the motherboard and one stick, of course, and a working mouse and keyboard that I tested on another machine even before I started to make sure everything was flawless. And it still didn't run. It would still not boot until I pulled the battery out and literally had to short the battery connection out to make sure that the BIOS was clear. Now, I don't know if that's okay to do on all motherboards. Well, it was okay to do on that one.
So it's not working now. So I don't know if it can't really make it less working at this point.
Well, that's what I figured. I figured I didn't care. And I'm like, how do the only way I knew how to kill it was to make sure if I shorted it out, that would hopefully reset something. And it did. It did come back to life, but I did still have to reinstall the BIOS. I don't know it went into some odd mode that I've never seen before. You know what I mean? It did things that I've never seen before, and it said stuff that I've never seen before on any other computer I've ever owned in my entire life. And by the way, that computer is long gone now.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it died.
Well, that
A
might
horrible death.
that might be a thing to try then. I'll see. I'll just try and just short out the terminals. I think this is it has like a little. It's not a Molex connector, but a little. I don't know what they're called. It has a little terminal, so I'll have to stick something very small in there to try and short it out.
Well, you know where the battery goes in? You know, you like clip it in?
Yep.
I shorted that to the positive and the negative of the battery out.
Okay.
Yeah. You understand what I'm saying?
I think so. So you just shorted the actual terminal, the battery terminals
Yeah,
out.
the battery terminal. I shorted
Okay.
that out.
Okay.
Why did I do that? I don't know. I just said, well, I don't know what else to do. I took the battery out. I came back the next day and the damn thing still didn't work. And I'm like, well, okay, I'm going to short the thing out to make sure it's dead. And as soon as I did that, the thing lit right back up. And I have no idea why it would. And I don't even know if that had anything to do with it or was just pure happenstance.
Well, Sean says it could be the battery was low and some flaky values are written to the BIOS. So
Yeah,
maybe that
that's probably what it was.
So-
Well, I did put a new battery in it,
Yeah.
but I did that. I already had a new battery in it. I did. The battery tested fine. I don't know what the hell was going on.
Yeah, I'll have to examine it, like look really close to see how I would do that. I don't recall if it's the female end that's on the board or if it's the male end on the board. I can't recall exactly, but it's worth trying for sure.
Worth a shot.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
I don't think it'll hurt it.
worst case Ontario, it still stays broken. Oh, Sean says apologies for not joining the Zoom meeting. Still getting over a throat issue. It happens. I had one last week and the week before, so I get it. But, you know, the show must go on. So, well, cool. All right, I guess we'll move into our straw poll. So if you have not done so, knock out that straw poll. That'd be pretty groovy of you. It would be rad to see some more votes in the straw poll. I'll give you a few moments just to check it out.
I'm not seeing anything in the chat really.
Do you see the straw poll?
I thought I posted it. Did I post the wrong one?
Oh, no.
Might
I
have
think
been
so.
before I joined or after.
Well, here there's.
Yeah,
I'll give
before,
you.
yeah, now I
I'll
see
give you
it.
just a
Okay,
moment.
yeah.
I can jabber my jaw a little bit until then. But you know, I'm able to fill the dead space a little bit from time to time.
Yeah, the
So-
dead space.
The dead space. So, Ricky, what's been going on in your world as we're waiting for the straw poll tallies to kind of tally up? Anything exciting? I see you got like this new like manly beard thing going on here. What's going on? Are you trying to like, you know, show me your testosterone levels are higher than mine because I still can't grow a beard?
No.
I'm almost 44 and I still can't grow a beard.
Yeah, I haven't shaved for a little while. I gotta trim this up a little, but no, everything is pretty much going good. I'm basically back here just doing some stuff here on my Linux Mint machine. My MacBook Pro, I just recently upgraded it from Catalina to Sonoma, using the Open Core patcher.
Okay. And that's Mac, right?
It is.
Okay, all
Yes.
I don't know my Macintosh X, or OS X, OS, whatever,
Hey guys,
Mac OS. Hello, Ben.
miss me?
I did. I threw many a banana peels at you and missed you every time.
Oh geez, come on, Nate. You know you missed having me on the show.
I did.
Of course we did.
Ricky
Because-
and I have been slaving over Storm OS, so you, my friend, have a very big report to hear from us tonight.
Fantastic. So we're gonna put you in the community free port.
Special. Yes,
just
sir.
for you,
We have a lot to
Storm OS
talk about
update. That'd be
tonight.
fantastic. That's excellent.
And I'm not going to spoil anything, so you guys are just going to have to wait out the big announcement.
All right, and then I see Ron has joined. Not unmuted
And
himself.
even he's looking forward to our news.
Ron is looking forward to everything.
Yes, he is. Anyway, I'll let Ricky continue about his Mac OS adventures.
Yeah.
Y-
Oh,
yeah.
and actually, I helped him this time. Didn't
Yeah.
I, Ricky?
Yeah, basically, I partially knew how to operate the open core patcher. Just I struggled a little bit when it came to the rebooting sequence, and Ben actually helped me out with that. So everything is fine now. Um, but other than that, I'm going to be over the next day or two releasing a slew of videos up to my channel. I also got a few live installations planned over the next few months. For this month's live Linux installation that's going to be on my channel, I'm actually going to be revisiting a live installation I did a little while back, but this time it's going to be for a very different reason, because this particular distro I'm going to be revisiting recently changed its release schedule. So I thought, why not revisit this distro again? So for May's live installation, Calculate Linux XFCE.
Calculate Linux. I don't know that one.
It's Gentoo based.
And I've become his co-host, Nate, and I will tell you, we did look at Calculate once before. It's basically Gentoo with a GUI front end on top of it, GUI installer, things like that. So it also still uses Portage and a merge and that kind of thing, but it's mainly using binaries for the packages. So
Yeah.
I mean, you still get certain source-based packages, but majority of them are binary-based.
Yeah. And
So it's basically a newbie version of Gentoo kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's sort of like it's like a Manjaro-based Gentoo kind of thing.
Yeah. But about Calculate Linux's release schedule, they recently announced that they are switching the nightly builds as the new main release schedule. So essentially, there's going to be more Calculate Linux ISO releases more frequently now, which means you're going to get the latest updates, the latest packages, drivers, everything. They made that announcement like maybe a month or two ago.
Well, great. I mean, that sounds like then things are going very well for that team then. That's the important part.
Yep. Other than that, that's pretty much been what I've been up to.
Well, great. Well, good to have you here. So I guess we'll move on to the straw poll. So if you, I'm going to refresh one more time. If you haven't voted yet, you can try and squeeze it in here. But I'm going to go ahead and knock this out. Eris couldn't be here tonight. He's got big plans the next couple of weeks. So probably won't have him. He'll be out catching Pokemon or something. I don't know. All right. So for how many streaming services do you typically use in a month? This is audio and video. So not real clear on if it's paid or not paid. So how many do you typically use in a month? Can be, however you want to, slice that turkey, I guess. So for the top answer with 25% of the votes was 2 streaming services. Up next with just over 17 was 1 streaming service. And then we had in third place, tied, I guess technically tied for second, was 4 streaming services. And then in fourth place was no streaming services at all. And then fourth, no, I just did fourth. Fifth place, I can't count tonight either. Math is hard. With 3 streaming services at 10% of the votes. And then after that, at 7%, 5 streaming services. And then 6, 7, and 8. The next 6 streaming services, 7 streaming services, and 8 streaming services all each got about 3.5% of the votes. And then in last place, 1 vote for more than 9 streaming services. So that's a lot. I would like to know who you are, good sir or ma'am. And how do you get all that? How do you get all that streaming goodness in? I don't know. So for some of the replies, this is assuming that streaming services means the site that streams as opposed to paywalled content sites, then 1, YouTube. Okay. So some of these services include Twitch, YouTube, and so, since YouTube also does music, so would you count that as a separate service, or is it YouTube is YouTube is YouTube? I don't know. Netflix, Disney Plus, Hulu, Apple TV, Spotify. And then another one said YouTube, Curiosity Stream. I don't know that one. Netflix, Disney Plus, Hulu. And then YouTube and Spotify for me. So those are the replies that we had. Very cool. And so I actually want to go into now like some of the favorite streaming services that you use. So I'm sure a lot of people think Netflix is probably still the big one on the block. I use YouTube primarily for my entertainment. There's so many things to watch on YouTube. I think I've subscribed to like some 200 odd channels, and I don't get to them all now. When I first got excited about YouTube, I just subscribed to everything, but people weren't producing as much content as they are now. So, yeah. And then, Netflix. So I use Netflix, YouTube, Paramount Plus, and sometimes Rumble. That's what I use. I don't really use Twitch. What about you, Ben? Or not?
Sorry, I was hyper focused. What's the question?
So, what streaming service?
I didn't catch it.
That's
Sorry.
all right. So Adam Grubb says, I generally watch YouTube, Twitch, and Cornhub. I don't know what Cornhub is.
Oh, God. Don't worry about it.
What's Cornhub?
Must be a farming channel.
Yeah, it's a farming channel.
It's
All right.
something from Indiana. There's more than corn in Indiana, I think. So Peter Patterson said 9+ was my vote. Our household is a large user of Roku streaming apps. It didn't actually count. So there's that. So Sean says, does watching OTA or over the air digital TV on a USB TV tuner count as streaming? Yeah, sure. Why not? You're streaming content, I guess. But would that be Would that be one service? I don't know because it's a self-hosted service, I suppose. Oh, Mike Chilson says Amazon Prime, Paramount Plus, Max, and Spotify. I don't know what Max is.
HBO Max.
Oh, HBO Max. Okay, is that like a new name for it? I don't know.
Yeah, for some reason they wanted to drop HBO. For some reason, I don't really know why.
Home box office. Maybe it's no longer a box office. And Sean says YouTube, Odyssey, when it's an option. I wonder what that means. Twitch, to follow a few specific 3D printing content creators. Well, that's cool. So Ben, do you stream anything? Obviously YouTube. You probably use it. Your
Twitch. Yes,
Twitch?
yes.
Okay.
I stream on Twitch. I stream a lot of different things, like video games of many different kinds. Star Wars Galaxies, SWOTOR, Yarg, which is a music rhythm game. It's different stuff like that. And it's very sporadic right now when I stream, given school and Storm OS and all those different things. So I hope to get on a consistent, somewhat schedule, but I don't know.
Okay. What about you, Allie? Is there any what streaming services do you use, or if any? YouTube probably.
I use YouTube. Yeah, I use YouTube. What else do I use? Occasionally I pop into Spotify. I find some new music.
Oh, okay.
I mostly listen to music on those streaming services.
Gotcha.
I don't know if a media player would count, but I use that other stuff.
So I think, listen, I play fast and loose with the rules. My rules are just kind of a guideline. I mean, I have a local server that I stream from as well, but I wouldn't count that. But maybe I should. I probably use that almost as much as YouTube, although not right now. I'm doing some maintenance on it, but I have. How about you, Cruz? Do you stream things?
Yeah, I'm a heavy user of YouTube and Max.
Okay, and Max
Mm-hmm.
for all the game. Can you watch Game of Thrones on that? I haven't watched the last season. I guess.
Yeah, Game of Thrones is
Yeah.
on it.
So what has a better theme? Game of Thrones or The Simpsons?
I'll say Simpsons.
Okay. I just wanted to ask. So Terry has he's been pushing all these different streaming services, and I don't generally have a lot of time. Although I probably could have today. I was working outside, just like listening to stuff, podcasts and whatnot. But you like some almost obscure things, like those Friendly TV. That's one that you like, right?
Yeah, friendly TV because of the price point.
Okay.
With that price point, right? The lowest plan is $7.99 a month, right? Hey, but if you pay for your whole year up front, right, they give you a discount. So hey, but the different plans range from $7.99 to $11.99 per month. And
So-
it depends on how many devices. It depends on how many devices you want to stream from at the same time.
Gotcha. I usually don't stream for more than like 1 or 2.
Yeah, so if you stream with one, you would go with the basic. The basic is $7.99 a month, but if you paid for your whole year up front, it'd come out to $6.99 per month.
So what is it that like? What's like the killer thing that it has that you think that makes it great?
The cloud DVR is included, on-demand movies included. So that means their movie library is about more than 10,000 movies. So when you throw that in on that price point with 50 live channels, you really can't go wrong.
Gotcha.
Hey, because has anybody on here tried out YouTube TV?
No.
Yeah, I have. I've only used it when I watch football games, but I used to use
You tried
Vimeo.
out YouTube TV for what? For the free trial period?
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
yeah?
no, my brother had it, so I just used it under his stream. Yeah, the paid subscription service.
So
Yeah, YouTube TV.
And then I used to use Vimeo a lot when it was much more, but I don't use it as much anymore.
Gotcha. I forgot there is one that I do use on the occasion, and it has a lot of old shows on it. Pluto. Have you seen Pluto?
Pluto TV.
Yeah, I like that
Yes.
one. Gilligan's Island. It's a little bit.
Yes.
It's very campy, but I really enjoy it.
Yes.
It's my kids. I was watching with my kids, and we were all like belly laughing because Gilligan is truly a moron, and I really enjoyed it. I mean, it was so much fun to watch, just the ridiculous nonsense.
Hey, Pluto's great too.
So Steven Anderson says Netflix. Oh wait, I clicked on the wrong thing. I lost it. I know it's on here somewhere. Hang on. Steven says Netflix, Crackle. I don't know that one. Tubi, Peacock,
Yes, Sony Crackle.
Sony Crackle.
Sony Crackle.
They also Max, Paramount Plus, U.S. News on Prime from Amazon, YouTube Premium, and Gaming, GOG, Steam, and Epic. Wow. Interesting. I also pay for YouTube Premium because I was tired of the commercials, and I also like it that I can keep my phone off and just listen to things as opposed to having to have it on. And that was really what got me. And also, since there's a lot of like creators, I really enjoy their content. I could do an ad blocker, but I really felt bad about blocking ads and then listening to their content. And so I had to sweep away my guilt on that one. So I went with YouTube Premium. Hopefully those creators get a few nickels here and there in their satchel.
Hey, how many people on here knew that Roku is a Linux operating system?
I didn't know
I
that.
didn't.
I had no idea.
Yes,
Wow, you're very
Roku is based on Linux.
Wow.
Yeah.
So go out there and buy that Roku device today.
Except it's a little bit it's a little bit intrusive as far as like how much a phone's home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you gotta block it. Get a pie hole. Make sure you block it. Block its ad.
Yep.
Stuff.
Yep. For me, basically, it's mainly YouTube primarily, but I do watch stuff on Twitch like once in a while. Crackle, I mainly use that for maybe the occasional movie or show. One service that a friend of mine made me a bit aware of too recently is a service called Tubi TV, and it's basically a service that offers you TV shows, movies, all sorts of stuff completely for free.
Tubi TV.
Tubi
yeah.
TV.
Yeah,
Tubi
Tubi's
TV.
great.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know
Um,
about that one.
Tubi's great because it's got a lot of movies on there.
oh yeah. I also watch stuff on Odyssey as well. A bit of gaming stuff, and I also have an Odyssey gaming channel on there if
Oh,
you all
wow.
want to check it out sometime.
I was having trouble with Odyssey, and it just like it would just choke, and so I haven't really watched it in a while, but it would just choke a lot on me.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Hey, there's another free app that Eric mentioned on here before, the Plex, which
Yeah.
Plex has a lot of free movies.
that must be like a
Oh.
Plex. I know like you run a local Plex server. Maybe is it some sort of like it connects with a
It's an
larger
app.
Plex thing?
No, it's a app on Roku.
I only ever installed Plex or
So
set up
it's just
Plex
a
to.
free app. You get movies on there. Yeah, just you have to just put it on your streaming device,
Interesting.
download it.
So is anybody else here that has any other interesting things? Let's see here in the chat. Oh, Mike Chilson says, "FI, if you have an AT&T internet connection, you get IMAX for free." Good to know.
Hey, now some Comcast customers get Peacock for free.
Really?
Yeah, but you have to be a what they call a Diamond Reward member, which means you got to be with Comcast for at least 20 years.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. So you're probably paying
Yeah,
like
there's a-
$500 a month for that free service.
Right.
And then a Wild Eric appears. Hello, Wild Eric. He probably heard somebody say something like
Plex.
Plex or Peacock or something. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank
You've
you.
got
How are you?
mail. I'm doing very well. It's been a fun week.
Okay. I detect a slight hint of sarcasm there.
Yeah, Thursday was a bit of a pain. Rain. I said early on in the show, but had a lot of rain. It was so much came up and over the window into my basement, and so that was
Wow.
great. And then, but everything's in plastic, so no big deal. So I added some drainage this week. Also lost power and everything else, but I had a battery backup so that we were okay. And then it made all the about half the smart switches in my house get an aneurysm, and I had to reprogram them on Friday. So yeah, the power surges.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah,
so there you go. You had a full week. I'm sure it blazed by. All of a sudden, here it is, Saturday night, right?
said it, and I'm here with y'all. Adam Grubb says, "Be careful with a feral Eric."
That's true. That's true. Even I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Sean says Peacock doesn't support Linux as far as I know. I have heard that, but like, I've tried Peacock on like some kind of account.
Hey, that's
And-
true. Peacock won't work on a Linux operating system.
So maybe there's a way of getting around that. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
go to the
well-
Roku and figure out how they did it.
Right.
They had to figure out how to do it if you said it was Linux.
Yep.
Oh, so Adam filled me in here, says Plex has their own movies and TV streaming as well as the local stuff. I did not know that. I only thought Plex was something you ran on your own, thingy on your own server. I didn't realize it was actually a wider thing. That's amazing.
Yeah, they've really put a lot of live programming, streaming. I think you can even connect to premium stuff through there
Really?
now, like how you can through Hulu to get to like ESPN and stuff.
Oh, that's interesting.
Maybe I might be wrong on that one, but I know you can. There's a lot of stuff you can actually just stream from there,
That's
which
pretty
is
cool.
nice.
And then And then Adam follows up with Peacock is a great Katy Perry song. And somehow I think he's trolling me. Is he trolling?
He might be.
Yeah.
Just maybe.
Maybe.
Consider the
Adam,
source.
Adam would never troll. He's such a sweetheart. He's like one of the nicest, most respectfully upstanding people I've ever met on the internet.
I believe you completely.
Yeah. No sarcasm there.
Hmm.
So if you had to narrow, like if you had something happen and you had to get rid of all of your streaming services but one, what would it be?
Me?
Yeah.
I have the answer.
What's that?
I pay for YouTube Premium,
Mhm.
and I know that I could block ads with ad blockers, but I like supporting the creators, and I feel like I get more entertainment out of the creators on YouTube for whatever subject that they happen to be covering. There's just a lot more authenticity and passion and like genuine interest on the part of the person presenting it, and so I find that I get a lot more out of that and tend to watch more YouTube probably than anything else. So that would be mine.
Yeah, I hear you. It's because of you, Eric. I also went with the premium. I pay for YouTube Premium now, and it's a much better experience than the YouTube for the plebeian.
Yeah.
So, which I guess well done YouTube, well done.
Supposedly their television is pretty good too. It's like $70 a month or something like that, but it's basically like having cable television.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you have access to like all the national networks, and I think you can even localize it depending on like where you live. You get local programming as well.
Really?
Yeah, and there's an interface for like Roku's and obviously your computer devices, stuff like that. So
I don't know
Yeah,
how much
that's-
I'd use that. I don't know.
I guess if you follow local sports, I mean, that's probably one reason, because a lot of times those are blacked out on,
Mhm.
like I have ESPN Plus for just mainly for watching hockey, and I can't see the local games on ESPN Plus. I have to either have cable television or do something not so legal. So
Do something
Plus,
that
hey, YouTube TV gives you all your local channels too.
okay, yeah,
That's
that's
good
what I
enough.
figured.
So what about
Has
you,
a
Ron?
DVR. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. No, finish your thought, Eric.
I'd also just remembered that it has a DVR, and that's like actually one of
Oh.
the big features of it is that you can record just about anything, and then I think
Wow.
it does ad skipping. I'm not sure. Anyway,
So it's like what was that? What was that thing in the early 20 years ago that started with a T? It was like a recording box.
oh,
The
TiVo.
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 Yeah.
There we go. TiVo.
Oh, I had my TiVo for years.
Yeah.
Yep.
I never had one.
I bought one of those. I just took the hard drive out of it and threw the rest of it away. It was cheaper to buy than the hard drive at the time, by a lot.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah,
I
I
remember.
know.
I remember upgrading mine for the storage because the one I bought, which wasn't cheap, but it could only record so many hours, and so I bought like a third-party add-on that was the drive and the connector and like all this stuff, and expanded the storage on it. Yeah, that seems like such a long time ago.
It was.
I guess it was. Yeah, I guess it
Yeah,
was.
it
It was
was.
a Weird Al song where he brought up something about the TiVo, and I can't remember what the song was though.
Mm.
But I remember what that.
Mm.
Anyway,
I think it was that cover of the Eminem song. You
yeah,
only
I
get
think
one
so.
chance.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
I
yeah,
forget the. Anyway,
I'll have to look it up now. So Ben, if you had to give up all the streaming services but one, what would it be? What is your favorite streaming service? If you're there, maybe he's busy. He's hyper focused on something else. That's right. We can come back to Ben. How about you, Ron? If you had to give up all the streaming services but one, what do you think it would be?
I'd keep YouTube.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I only have two YouTube. I only do two YouTube. Jeez. YouTube and Amazon Prime.
Okay.
But Amazon's got mostly crud on there, so I usually watch something on it maybe once every 3 months.
I've been meaning to get back
maybe.
to The Expanse. I watched
Oh,
I watched it like years ago, and it
I'm
was
right in the middle of it.
okay. So I was watching The Expanse until it was the end of it. They basically just like I can't remember exactly some kind of wormhole. They went to some other like part of the galaxy. I don't know where they went, and that was pretty cool. And then that was the last of it, and there wasn't any more shows. So, but I haven't picked that back up. Yeah, I have to. Yeah, maybe check that out again. I do remember. I did forget. I have Amazon Prime, so it's actually 1, 2. So I lied.
You know what's
in my,
really cool?
in my thing.
Sorry.
That's right. What's really
No,
cool?
I was just gonna say what's really cool about that expense before I forget. If you see a fairly deserted looking place that's gray, and I think that's how season 2 ended,
Yeah, it could be.
or season 3, I think it was 2. Anyhow, that was all filmed in a quarry, maybe about 40 miles away from where I live.
In Canada, yeah.
Which was
So
pretty neat.
I guess Canada is kind of like The Expanse, really, when you think about it.
Yeah, a barren wasteland.
You know, I was at one
20
time a
miles up.
big fan of Ice Road Truckers because, you know, they're all that northern Canadian, Alaskan area of trucking.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just thought anyone who does that for a living is crazy. But, yeah. So the thing about The Expanse that really bothered me, so, you know, I love Star Trek. Star Trek is like my favorite sci-fi, specifically The Next Generation. To me, it's my feel-good TV. If I just want to put something on that makes me just, you know, puts me in a happy place, something optimistic, kind of a suspension of reality besides, you know, a Linux Saloon, I suppose, I put on Star Trek The Next Generation. And I just, you know, everything has kind of for the most part, a very, you know, positive and upbeat message in there somewhere. I mean, some things are a little bit negative, but they're like, you know, thought-provoking and they challenge, you know, to
Yeah.
challenge you.
It's cerebral.
Yeah, it's cerebral.
Usually.
So it's good. And when I watch it afterward, I don't feel bad about watching it. And you know, I don't have like a negative feeling afterward. Like it's uplifting for me.
hmm
So when I watch The Expanse, I don't get that same feeling. It's quite the opposite.
It gets a lot better. Season 1 was an unholy mess, I found. That
I mean,
accent and
It's good.
dialect they were speaking.
Yeah, it's good storytelling. I think it's very good storytelling, and I think it's well produced. The characters are good. It's a very negative. It's not a very positive or, okay. So I'm
Realistic, though.
It's more realistic, I would say, than Star Trek
Yeah.
for sure. That's more likely. I think that's what depresses me. That's more likely our future is to, you know, we become multiplanetary, but then we become more tribal and fighting as opposed to working together.
And grimy.
How are we gonna join the Galactic Federation if we keep fighting each other? That's what I'd like to know. Does anybody know?
Sorry, Nate. I was getting pinged like heck on Discord, so.
Well, I'm the priority, Ben. Come on, Ben. I'm just kidding.
Oh, I know. I should be more attentive to the show. I'm sorry. Okay.
No,
so,
sorry. I'm just joking with you, Ben. Don't.
Oh, you're good.
I don't take things seriously. Come on, Ben.
Discord considered a streaming service?
No, that'd be a chat. I would call that a chatting.
It's a chat room.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chat service.
It's
It's a chat service for gamer folks. Yeah.
or just techie people,
Or
even-
just
I mean,
tech
there's-
nerds.
I mean,
Yeah.
actually, Discord's used for. It's grown far beyond that. There are lots of different groups on Discord now,
Yes.
with all sorts of different hobbies and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't like Discord. So, yeah.
Discord is a perfect example of because there are people on there I want to talk to, I will use it. But I would never choose to just be like, yeah, Discord's a great way to communicate. I mean, it's flexible. It's flexible because you can jump between like video chatting and audio and then text. Like it's kind of does encapsulate all those things, but it also is just so stuffed full of like bizarre things that I'll never use and can be really confusing. So yeah, but that's a good example of if like they've said, you know, the network effect, if the people you want to talk to are on a platform, it draws people to it.
So by the numbers, I should love Discord. Like if you go like just by the numbers, but the actual execution of Discord and how I interact with it, I find it more frustrating and clumsy, and just not enjoyable to use. So, but
Yeah, it's
if it works for you though, and you love it, use it.
it's-
You know.
I think for a community, it makes sense just because you get all these tools for nothing, basically.
Yeah, it's a weird uh, uh, it's a weird platform. The main reason I use it is because I have, numerous friends on it, like Ricky and many other people, and a lot of my games that I play involve it. So yeah. And I have so many ties to it, not just for games, but for tech communities and things like that. And plus, Gen2 even has a Discord that I'm a part of. So it's not entirely a platform that I can easily break away from. It's just not. So
I got you. And then and now Wild Matt appears. I missed you, Matt.
Nate, don't lie.
yeah.
So on the last Linux Out Loud, Matt couldn't make it. He was tired of. I was giving him a headache apparently. So
Nate, that's every episode, dude. Every episode.
I know you had to have a vacation from it apparently.
And
So-
you have to have a vacation for me. So, we have this
Nah.
alternating thing where we would do like one show, then that's like a month and a half worth of enough
Right.
dealing
So
with
it's
each
just
other.
it's just Wendy or just me and Wendy or just you and Wendy. Yeah. Okay, keeps things interesting. Yeah, keeps things interesting. So some interesting things on the YouTube stream here. If you want to look at that.
Yeah.
It's,
I'll be right back, Nate. I got to get a glass of water.
okay. Well, it is just ask the bartender for that, I suppose. The saloon tender. I don't know. So Sean says, follow-up topic: what does streaming look like going forward? That's a good question. So something I was thinking about, like 10-ish years ago, it was basically Netflix was like the paid one. Everyone threw the things on Netflix, so you could go to Netflix and watch whatever you wanted there. And then everyone decided to make their own streaming services. So you had like Disney Plus, and then Paramount or CBS at the time, CBS Now or whatever it was called. I don't know. There was Hulu, and then things seemed to be kind of like fracturing. And now we're back to spending more. If you want to get everything, now you're back to spending more than you were on cable. So what is it like going forward? I think some of them kind of joined up. So I think what I think Disney and Hulu and some of those are all one now. So it seems like they're kind of coagulating again. So maybe it's unfracturing. I don't know. I don't know what it looks like in the future.
Streaming became cut the cord, and now it has become what it wanted not to be, and that is essentially cable, just with worse pricing and more
Right.
commercials now.
And at least
And
cable.
it's just gonna get worse.
Yep.
Yeah. I feel like it was a long con, honestly, because at first, because at first I thought of this the other day. At first,
carte.
it was like the salvation, right? It was all
Yeah.
we all said. Well, we'll stop downloading stuff if we can just have access to the things that we want, and if you give us that, we'll pay for it.
Right.
So that's what we did, and then that whole process of occasion, I'm blanking out the S word in the middle of it. I'm sure you're all familiar with that term.
I think so.
Uh,
I think Matt,
the basic
Matt's pretty
con-
heavy user of that word.
Yeah. Well, the basic concept being that you make it really appealing to users to adopt the platform, which they do. Then you make it really appealing to advertisers to also come into the platform so they can sell to your users. And then once you've bought all the competition and there are very few options left, you just start cranking up the prices.
Mhm.
And I think the game they're playing right now is how much will these suckers pay for this intellectual property? Because they're
Well, I
all
mean-
doing the same things. They're all using the same technology. I mean, there's nothing special about what any of them do. It's just
No.
it's real estate,
It's the front-facing front end that the customer is going to interact with. That's all they're seeing. In the back end, they're not seeing anything like different wise. Well, I mean, just look at when like YouTube TV was first a thing. What was it? The whole pitch was like $30 a month or YouTube Red or whatever the heck they're calling it now, and it's more than a cable bundle is now with like internet and phone and all the other stuff. And they became what they didn't want to be originally.
They're actually
as far as
they're a full-on competitor for terrestrial cable.
yeah, which is
which is crazy, right?
No,
Because that
it's crazy to me because
Yeah.
they're not the ones
Yeah.
building out. But
I don't watch cable anymore.
you and me, I think that's a majority of most people at this point because you know Gen Z and all the get off my lawn stuff that I could say.
well, you start to read a lot of this sort of activist speech starting to happen where it's like, well, if we have to pay so much for it or they're making it so difficult for us to get access to it, then if it's easier for a customer or for a user to get access to it illegally, then they will.
Mm-hmm.
And that was proven by the whole MP3, RIA, lawsuits and all that silliness, like suing one person for like $1 million or more. I mean, it's just ridiculous, right? I mean, punishing people for doing something that was easier than actually trying to buy your product. So whatever. I mean, but I see a lot of that now because people are sick of paying the prices and sick of the games of like, well, no, now we're going to pull that off of this platform and now you have to go this. It's proliferating and it can't be sustainable, right?
So here's the thing that I think is rather interesting now. I've noticed and not just because I talk to Matt a lot, but I've heard multiple people now, not like IRL people, not just fellow Linux nerds, talk about buying media, going to the bin and buying media and watching it because it's cheaper than a streaming service, and they don't have time to watch it, or the Redbox, the vending machine thing, and watching that. So that's really not a bad way to go either. And you go to the store, go to the grocery store, get a tub of ice cream. Rent something out of the red box, whatever. It's like $3.
Yeah. We end up getting a lot of stuff from the library, honestly.
Oh yeah, that's a good. Library is a really good choice too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazon has those machines that you can actually get movies from.
Mm-hmm.
They go around. Sometimes you find them around 7-Elevens.
Okay.
So I don't know. I think there might be a resurgence of physical media here. I think if all these streaming services keep doing what they're doing.
Could be.
I think a lot of it's going to be a sense of ownership. The problem with digital, and while I love Steam, don't get me wrong, like you don't technically own the games. Valve has been very good about it, but like I can back up the games, but if I can't find certain executables that make it go around Valve to play offline, GOG is really your only option. So, like in my case, I've been cold storaging all my GOG games. So that way, if whatever reason anything goes away, I don't have access to Valve's stuff or whatever, my Steam account or whatever, I'm not totally up the creek and same with all the digital stuff, like, as far as movies and stuff, I'm ripping movies all the time now because it's like I want that sense of ownership. I'm tired of I've had stuff in my Amazon library go just poof. Like the whole thing I loved about Amazon originally was Amazon, DRM free MP3s, or you can download your movies to any device, not just Amazon devices.
Right.
You can't do that. Can't do that stuff anymore. And then they're ripping out stuff from libraries, and you got companies like Ubisoft saying, "Hey, get comfortable with not owning your stuff." And it's like, at some point, people are going to be like, "Well, what do I get out of not owning it?"
Yeah, I know, like Twitch has a lot of gamers that do video game streaming, and that's a whole brand itself.
Yeah,
it's very lucrative as well.
Yep. And then speaking of buying, Steve's very own says you can't talk price without adding what you pay for internet. So there is that cost too. So I mean, I don't know what people are paying for internet. I think Eric, you probably have a better deal than I do. I think I spend like $120 a month, and it's not great, but it's the best I can do for where I am.
Yeah, I'm actually getting. I'm a little unhappy. So I started with Verizon Fios a long time ago, and then Verizon sold out to Frontier. And Frontier's been fine. I mean, they don't really do anything. They're just almost like they hold the network. I mean, they haven't really shown huge improvements. They're not big on advertising. You almost never hear about them. They just sort of have the customer base they have because they have the wiring in the neighborhoods.
Mm-hmm.
It's their de facto choice. But that said, I mean, they've been rock solid. Like I think they've been down like 3 times in over 10 years. Like it is just almost completely solid idiot proof, whatever. Like it just never goes down, which the alternative is Verizon, which goes down all the time. So anyway, so yeah, I pay more than what a new person would pay. And after a while, it gets annoying because the new people are getting like a gig symmetrical, like a gig up and a gig down for like $60 maybe. And I pay about 75 for 500. So for half of that, but that's because those deals and, they're not for existing customers. And I'll call and say, well, it seems a little unfair that I'm a customer you've had for a long time and I don't get access to these deals. So I've had some luck on occasion with that, but sometimes they just tell me no. And what am I going to do? Yeah, I don't have an alternative.
You're going to, there's that line from, was it, I think, Liar Liar, when his car gets impounded and there's a scratch on it, and says, what are you going to do? And the guy says, what are you going to do about it? And because he can't lie, he says he's going to, piss him off and nothing's going to happen. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's exactly it.
Yeah. Something like that.
So Leviticus says the correct answer about which streaming service you would keep is to keep Linux Saloon and get rid of all the rest. #winning. Yeah. I mean, that's like one show a week, though. I don't know if I think most people's entertainment are well beyond Linux Saloon. Zoe Ronan says, I could do with just the Tux digital content. It's a little bit light, though, these days. We don't have as many as we used to. So, that, and also I'm tired of hearing Matt.
If I pretty much had to get rid of all but one of my streaming services, my honest opinion, it would be YouTube. Because when it comes to YouTube, most of the stuff I watch, whether tech or computer related anyway, I could just find on here, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah. So Adam Grubb says to counter what we were saying, says, I honestly think the pricing for streaming is rather fair. Think about it. If you bought that media physically, one at a time, think of the cost of renting each of those shows each week. I think, yeah, that's a good point. But I don't watch that much, I think, is the problem for me. And so I think it depends on how much content you consume versus
bored.
Yeah. So
in our case.
So I recently dumped Disney because I really wasn't watching it. May the 4th be with you, by the way. Today's Star Wars Day. I love Star Wars, but I feel a little betrayed by Star Wars. Is kind of how I felt about Star Trek about 10 years ago. So I don't know.
Yeah. I agree.
I don't know. So I guess we'll see what happens. But I just think, it just wasn't worth it to me. I got through the Mandalorian series, and then it's basically was only watching Star Wars stuff really on Disney. And then it just started hurting a little bit to watch. So I just says maybe best I just put this down for a while. Yeah.
I was watching a review yesterday, and they mentioned that Andor was actually really good.
Yes, I watched that one. It was very slow to get moving. I think the first half of it's I would say it's akin to the first season of Star Trek: The Next Generation. Like, where's it going?
Okay.
And not in the same way, not campy, but just you don't know where it's going. You don't understand. I think if you understand also that this is the same characters that are in Rogue One, that helps. But if you didn't know that going into it, it might be a little bit harder to get into. It's not bad writing. It's just not great either. It's just very, very slow. And
gotcha.
But it's not bad. It's good. I like the Boba Fett. That was fun. But a buddy of mine, he thought it was terrible. He didn't like Boba Fett being a good guy, or quasi good, I guess. I liked it. I liked how they made the Tusken Raiders seem more. They added depth to the Tusken Raiders. They weren't just annoying, savages essentially. So I think the way they humanized him, I thought that was really cool. I like that about it. And the theme music, really great music on some of the Star Wars stuff. So I do appreciate that. But I don't know. just wasn't watching
I
it.
honestly kind of lost track of it a little bit. I watched maybe the first 3 movies, of the newer stuff. Like, I don't even know the names. Honestly, that's how like out of touch I am with it. It just kind of lost me. And not that there can't be new Star Wars that is good. I'm not going to be one of those like purists who are like, there was 3 movies that were Star Wars and there's never been
Yeah.
anything else since. I certainly get that in the sense that there was definitely a snapshot in time where those people were that age and that cast and all that stuff. Like that was that, version of Star Wars. And it was, I think probably the best because that's where sort of all the canon comes from and like where all of this, lore and all of it, I know there are books and everything as well, but so everything has this pretty high standard to live up to. And I don't know. It's just like you said 10 years ago with Star Trek. I felt like what J.J. Abrams did with Star Trek was like, sure, it's exciting and it's an interesting like take on the idea of like an action-based Star Trek, but it was just kind of
It didn't feel
strange.
like Star Trek.
It didn't, not at
Yeah.
all. Like the way they talked to each other, like there was no real command structure, or it was just, yeah, really strange.
The Abrams Star Trek felt like kind of the first season of Next Gen. It kind of lost the plot, or didn't really have what to begin with.
Well,
as
Yeah.
far as like its overall direction and that stuff.
I would say that the counter I would give to that is I can watch a first season of Next Gen. It feels very original Star Trek, which, but I wasn't like angry after I watched it though. Like it's just like, it's kind of dorky, but whatever, it's fine. But like the one that had Khan in it, like Into Darkness, that one made me so upset when I watched it. I watched it in a theater when I was in Djibouti, Africa. It's actually where I watched it. I was so angry. If I had something to throw at the screen, I would have. Like I was so angry after watching that. After that, I'm like, well, Star Trek is dead. It should just go away. Like just don't do anything with it anymore. What you've done is, well, I can't say how I would describe it on a live stream.
Yes,
You have made it very bad.
It could get it flagged if I said what I want to say.
Yeah.
So I won't. But I was so upset. I was so upset with that Star Trek. I didn't even watch the third one because I just like I'm like,
why bother?
yeah. It's like,
So Nate,
it can't be
all I'm
Khan.
gonna say,
It can't be
Nate,
Khan.
all I'm gonna say is the third one. When the Beastie Boys are the reason you win. I kid you not.
I'm not even gonna bother.
Don't even look.
I'm sorry,
Don't even.
And then Star Trek Discovery upset me because what they did with the Klingons, and then also there was a really good comparison. Like I was watching some like Star Trek. People talk about Star Trek, nerd stuff on YouTube, right?
Kind of stuff.
Right, exactly. And when Reginald Barclay was having a hard time integrating with his crew on the Enterprise, Picard told Geordi, become his friend, get to know him, make him feel like he's welcome, make him feel like he's part of the team, and all this stuff. And then on Discovery, it was like the complete opposite. It was like this like alienation and belittling, and I'm like, this is not Star Trek. This is not, we're supposed to be generally getting along and trying to, make things better. And it was just so, I don't know, I totally missed the plot on that one. Strange New Worlds, that's not too bad, I think. I've only got a few episodes of that one. I'll get back to it. But it was pretty good. Star Trek Picard third season, great. The first two, you can pretty much forget those happened. So, it wasn't Star Trek.
I found the third season of Picard to be very dark, like physically.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what that was about. I couldn't even make out some of the scenes, and people on the internet quite a few people were complaining about the same issue.
Yeah. I want to bring up Adam. He says, to be honest, I was a gigantic Star Wars fan for most of my life, like turbo nerd. That is a great term. Write that down. Turbo nerd.
Turbo nerd.
Turbo nerd. Okay, turbo nerd. I'm going to have to somehow use
And
that in
actually, Nate,
Yes.
my uncle got me into Star Wars as a child,
Uh-huh.
and I grew up with Star Wars for most of my life too. And I became one of the hard dang core fans. And I mean, every year there was a Star Wars movie. Every month there's a Disney Plus show. I'm on it like a daggone hawk, you know. I'm one of those guys who's like, if I miss a single dang episode of any Star Wars film, it cringes me. It makes me uneasy. So, you know, I'm one of those guys who cannot live his life with no Star Wars. I'm just one of those people.
Have you seen there's a YouTube channel called Star Wars Theory. It's really good.
I love that guy.
I like that guy too. He did a where he paid for somehow out of his own pocket some like some film, like a feature film, like level quality stuff. Yeah, he does some really neat things.
Yeah,
But
I mean, I'm so daggone hardcore, man, that I even built my own Star Wars Galaxy's EMU server, dude. Like,
wow.
that's freaking how deep Star Wars goes for me. It's not funny.
Yeah,
Like,
it is funny. You should laugh at it if you enjoy it. Yeah. So Adam goes on and says, when Disney bought it, he said the expanded universe was no, and then they said expanded universe was not canon. I just said screw it and I dropped off entirely. So I was never into the expanded universe, but there was a book that I did read probably some 20 years ago now. What year is it? That it was a really well written stuff from the and I really enjoyed it. It was part of the expanded universe. So I didn't really follow all that real closely. I was more just like movies. In fact, I just found 2 sets of different VHS tapes of Star Wars that I had growing up, and my son took them, and he wants to watch them on VHS now because of.
Oh gosh,
I don't know why, but he's he's a strange kid.
I mean,
I'm not sure why he's into the vintage tech. It's really odd.
And hello to Anna Rita. Good to see you, my friend. And same to Heather. And but yeah, Star Wars has always been a constant for me in my life, and I just, when it comes on TV or at all, I'm like, oh my God.
Wait, all right, hold on. I have to hold the phone here. Steve's very own says JJ is going to do the same thing with Back to the Future.
Oh gosh.
Now, Bob Gale, it was Bob Gale or Robert Zemeckis, I don't remember which one. They were approached for the rights to redo Back to the Future, and they both said, over my dead body. And then they stopped and said, which, when I'm dead, they'll probably do it, which is fine. Yeah. So, I think they should just leave Back to the Future alone. Come up with something new. We don't have to reboot things. They don't.
Come
up with something new.
Here's a crazy idea.
Yeah. And
why
don't they just, guys, when they did Star Wars 789, for example, it felt like a freaking reboot of the first 3 films. It didn't feel like anything different. I mean, but that's just me. I'm not going to go on a rant about it. That's just an opinion I wanted to express.
Yeah. What do you say, Eric?
I was just going to say, I think we should just sort of aim higher and stop remaking anything.
Yeah.
Like, we just don't need to do it unless there's some truly visionary retake on something, or something that was made, let's say, 50 years ago, not 10 or 15. Like it's gotten kind of ridiculous at this point, where we just sort of change around a few pieces and call it a new version of something. But Ben's right, it's just sort of very repetitive. It's not.
Go ahead, Eric. I was gonna say, it's kind of like seeing them trying to like remake The Crow. It's like there are certain movies where you just
it's so iconic. Like, you can't, that guy had died making that movie. Like, it's never gonna be the same.
As weird as it is, given the overall story of that character itself, it's just like, why would you touch that whatsoever?
I think it's just a money grab. They think they can hype people up because of the intellectual property and the fan base that's around it. And And sometimes it pays off, and sometimes it's really not the worst thing in the world. But most times, yeah.
Except for they drove that thing into the ground after the first movie, and then it became a directed DVD like Steven Seagal style movies. So
yeah. So I think we can do better. We can have some original ideas.
Yeah. Just
the world has changed a lot in the last 30, 40 years. I think if there was ever a time where you could pick so many different possible topics.
I like Marvel movies. At least I used to like Marvel movies. I think that they're just anymore. I don't feel like they're being original. They're just rinse and repeating. They're not being edgy, or they're not really like pushing the coming with new ideas or telling a story that really resonates anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But just for what it's worth, Ghostbusters, like the original Ghostbusters, that was revolutionary. It was great. The 2016 reboot, whatever. I mean, it just didn't do anything for me. And I haven't seen the latest one, but it looked like it could have been pretty cool. I don't know.
I've heard both sides of it, where it was nice to see the original cast back and they played into it enough to be rewarding, but the kind of new kid part of it, like trying to pass the torch, didn't quite. It was a little, I guess, unsubtle or whatever. I think it was those movies that are nostalgic. Sure. I mean, they're not trying to be anything more than they are. I think, I don't think anyone who made that Ghostbusters thought that, especially having the original cast, that they were breaking new ground necessarily. But yeah, I've sort of lost the plot. I liked the superhero movies for the first, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years. And then it just kind of it's ridiculous, like how many different world, universe crossing, it just got confusing. I'm like, what is this even,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't watch any of them and enjoy them if you didn't already have seen the prior 10,
So Anna Rita says
the
Dune movie for 2023 was one of a few good ones, or is it 2024? I thought it just came out.
I agree. I like that version of Dune as well. She's right.
Okay.
Dune Part 1, Part 2. It's Part 1 came out in 2023, and Part 2 just came out not that long ago.
And then Adam Grubb says, the moment someone tries to remake Doctor Strangelove or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb, I'm just driving in the ocean with a lead apron. So that is one of the greatest movies ever, Doctor Strangelove. If you have not seen Doctor Strangelove, I don't think it can ever be redone to the same level. One of my favorite parts of that whole movie is I can't remember who the characters they were arguing, and no one says, and the guy comes in and says, gentlemen, there's no fighting in here. This is the war room. And that makes me laugh every time. I need to watch that movie again. I think it's time to watch Doctor Strangelove again.
They got the strange part. My goodness.
And and I did when I was in high school, I did a performance as Doctor Strangelove. I was really into that movie back then. So
wow.
I was in a wheelchair and everything, and hitting myself, and just I was demonstrating.
I would love to have a tape of that.
Yeah, it doesn't exist. I was demonstrating how to derive a polynomial as Doctor Strangelove. So yeah, it was stupid, but anyway.
If I had to hear about that subject, I think that's probably my favorite way, for what it's worth.
Even though it might be sacrilege, 2001, a remake of that would be pretty spectacular with today's tech.
What's interesting about those kind of movies is that I feel like they have done it in little slices here and there. Sci-fi tends to have some tropes and some kind of cliches, and I feel like in some ways they've done the how do you deal with a rogue computer, they've kind of teased that out as a topic for several movies. And so I don't think there's been and I don't know if they would do a true remake, but you have to say that there's a lot of borrowing from those types of movies.
Yeah. Actually, I'd forgotten about how the whole HAL thing, how pivotal that was, or I should say, it's like a cultural cornerstone. I don't know of any more because I haven't used Alexa in a while, hopefully, sorry if I triggered your lady tube there, but I liked asking her it open the pod bay doors, and it would say different things, at different times. And so it says, one time it said, I'm not Hal and you're not Dave, or something like that, and I can't open the pod bay doors. Or sometimes it just quoted the movie, I'm sorry Dave, I cannot do that. And it was really funny how the people who programmed Alexa thought about that, and that was put in there. Like, it knew to recognize that. And to me, that's beautiful. That is a great use of an artificial intelligence, if you want to call it that, or an assistant anyway. So Adam Grubb says, when it comes to sci-fi, suspense or horror, the lower tech is better. More detail hinders the audience's ability to suspend the disbelief. Look how effective found footage is for suspense. Or what was that? Something witch.
Blair Witch Project.
Blair Witch. Like before the internet.
The original.
Right. The original, people thought it was real. It was low quality. It was someone screaming at a VHS camera, I guess is what it was. Yeah, Handycam, yeah. And that had a certain je ne sais quoi about it, I guess. But anyway,
well, it was one of the first movies that really used like internet for the viral marketing and like kind of, to steal a wrestling term, kind of keep the kayfabe of whether or not it's actually real or not, to keep going with that. Oh, is the Blair Witch actually in Burkittsville, Maryland, or is it all this other stuff? So because at that time in the internet, you didn't. Unfortunately, now everybody believes everything's true, apparently. But back then, there was a lot more skepticism about what was online at the time.
Yeah. So Anna Rita said, I think she I hope she didn't have a stroke just now, because it looks like reading it, she did. Said, I love the Matrix movie, but the second and third one were sacrilegious. No, it's SUCJ equals KED. I don't know. I think that maybe she means sucked. Anyway,
could be.
And then actually, I don't know why it's not showing up here. Oh, Sleep Event says no, don't remake any Kubrick, and I agree. The other thing too, like let's say if someone redid, I'm just thinking any of the oh my gosh, how can I not remember this? Samuel Jackson, his breakout film. And it's one tasty one. Pulp Fiction. If they redid Pulp Fiction, it would never be as good as the original. There's no way you could do that. That whole Pulp Fiction could be one of the most perfect movies. I mean, it's a little bit rough, but one of the more perfect movies. Just the whole thing between the characters, the writing, just the suspense and surprise. The way the whole thing came across. Don't redo that. Just come up with something new. That's what I would like. Maybe there isn't anyone creative left in the entertainment business. I don't know.
So I think one of the positive things about streaming, if we were to think back, they've gotten profitable enough or big enough to be able to produce their own content. And some of them, Netflix, I would say in particular, have come up with some very viral, huge hit shows. Orange is the New Black, and oh my goodness, I'm trying to think of the most obvious one.
House of Cards, Stranger Things.
Thank you. That's what I was trying to think
Stranger
of.
Things was great. Yeah.
Yep.
It was new. It wasn't anything else. It was a new. The whole thing was new.
Yeah, and because creators have been given a chance in some cases that a major movie studio wouldn't have given them. I think Netflix is good at, and others are good at smaller budget, even though they get a lot of attention for the large budget stuff. They tend to make a lot of mid-size, small-size budget movies that are, just on the platform that end up, some of them doing very well. Even if it's not a blockbuster, they don't track things like that, right? That's not the metrics they use for streaming. It's the amount of time that somebody, their customer base is watching a particular piece of content, or how many people came to the service specifically because they knew they could get that content there. And so I think that's been a positive, is to just have these different studios associated with streaming services that have enough capital to fund maybe more work than would normally come out of the normal Hollywood studio system.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Netflix has done a really good job of a lot of original content, which is I think probably has saved Netflix or has kept them as the top streaming dog, because it wasn't just other people's content. But yeah,
And I guess I do go back to what Adam said earlier. If you do think of it in terms of like, and your retort was not, it wasn't how much you watched, but the value you got from it, or whatever. But he's right. I mean, if you were to just think about the amount of money that's spent on the programming that we access, considering all of that the $15 or whatever it is we pay a month. The thing that I am not happy about is how ads are creeping back in, because I really just don't want to see ads. And I figure if I'm going to pay the money for streaming, fine, but I really don't want ads. And it kind of cheesed me off that for Amazon Prime I had to pay an extra $3, which I did immediately because I'm a sucker and like I'm watching stuff on there and I don't want to see commercials. So yeah, here's my $3. But and I've always had the Hulu premium so that I don't have to deal with commercials, and all of the free streaming services that are commercial supported. I have a hard time watching stuff on there, and I know that's very first world problem kind of thing, but I don't like commercials, and if I can avoid them, I will, and I don't mind paying for it too. But it just seems like they're pushing ads back unless you're willing to pay a hefty premium for it.
Yeah. So Steve's very own says, but wait, Transformers versus G.I. Joe is in the works. I'm a little bit worried about that. I'm not a big G.I. Joe franchise. I wasn't big into G.I. Joe toys, but there's a really good Commodore 64 game, G.I. Joe, that I really enjoyed. Snake Eyes, my favorite. But I don't know. I don't feel like they've been a very good steward of Transformers, just in general, that whole IP. I don't know that they've really been good with it. And by the way, Eric, I don't know if you know this, but like for me, you've frozen. I don't know if you've frozen for anybody else but me. Or is it just me? Is it just
Let me
me?
see.
No, video froze.
Yep.
Yeah.
I actually don't see Zoom listed anymore. Nice.
One of those.
Oh wait, here, I found it. It went away.
Weird.
I switched to a different desktop, and I guess how it shrinks down automatically, even though I hate that and wish it wouldn't do it. It followed me down there, and then I guess my taskbar was set to not show applications from a different desktop. Figured it out.
What?
So that made me freeze when I did that?
Yeah, it's still frozen for me. Maybe it's my connection.
Oh.
No, it's frozen for me too.
Okay.
Here, I'll turn it off. Weird.
Now it's
Okay.
your avatar smiling. Your avatar.
Oh.
I would say, as far as original content, I really enjoyed, because I have kids, they're younger, the Carmen Sandiego on Netflix, I think is brilliant. I love it. It's better than the Carmen Sandiego I grew up with, I think. So
That was a cool video game.
it was, yeah. Learn geography. And so they have a lot of that in there. One of the characters, player on there, that there's the kind of the hacker, the white hat hacker, I guess. He's also in Stranger Things. I can't remember what the character's name is, what the actor's name is, but it's a little crossover from Stranger Things to Carmen Sandiego. Anyway, it's a good watch. I think they did a great job of building some really, really interesting characters, and it's fun. I like Shadow Sun. He might be my favorite. I like the way he groans and is always annoyed. That's how I feel in life. Like, was it? Everyone watched The Jeffersons? Remember the show The Jeffersons?
Meet George Jetson, Jane, his wife.
No, the Jeffersons. The moving on.
Oh,
Moving
yeah.
on up.
Yeah, that one.
Is his name George? Was it George Jefferson? What was
Yeah.
his first name? Anyway,
Yeah.
but he was always annoyed with everybody, and I thought he was just kind of a silly character when I was younger. But now that I've rewatched it a little bit, I really feel like I understand him more.
Well,
Well, hey, Jeffersons are on Pluto TV.
They're on Pluto. I have to look that up now.
Yep.
I gotta watch it. That's such a good show. The Jeffersons. Such a good show. So funny. There was a some sort of like a spin-off from another show, I thought. The Jeffersons.
Yeah, All in the
Archie
Family.
Bunker.
All in the Family.
All in the
yeah.
Family? Okay. That's another funny show. Never could be produced today, but still funny.
Hey, All in the Family's on Pluto too.
Really? All the good stuff's on Pluto. Gilligan's Island. That's hilarious. Still funny.
That's on Pluto.
Mm-hmm.
When I arrived in Canada back in '76, first two things I saw were Star Trek, the original series,
Mm-hmm.
and Gilligan's Island. And ever since then, I've become a rabid fan. My children, as they were growing up, yeah, we would take the movies on vacation. We'd be on an island, and in case it rains, we've got Gilligan.
If nothing
Sounds
else,
smart to me.
Yeah. If I'm going to go on any kind of a cruise, somehow I'm going to bring some Gilligan's Island with me just in case. Somehow.
Absolutely.
Just in case. That might be fun.
It was interesting. Every time I went to, for those first few times when the kids were young, I would have media players and a USB
I would bring that.
drive, and then it will get inspection will happen, and they're looking at it, and go, "What is this? You're going on vacation. What does this do?"
So have any of you added any streaming services recently? Like just something new that you haven't, or has it been pretty static as of late?
I'm paying for Friendly TV now.
I know this. I've heard this.
What
Hey,
is Friendly
hey, you-
TV?
Hey, Friendly TV is a live TV streaming service that has 50 channels for as low as $6.99 a month.
Wow.
So it has on-demand movies, cloud DVRs included in the price.
Wow.
You know, Friendly TV needs to know about Terry because he's the best salesperson for Friendly ever.
That's so true.
I think
Just your voice.
I think he might be like
Good
on their
pitch.
payroll
They should put me on their payroll.
if they're not haven't already.
So do you enjoy surfing channels on Friendly, or is there, out of say 100 channels, there's
you
like
said-
5 that works for you?
Hey, with Friendly TV, you got 50 channels to choose from. It's just like watching cable TV.
Oh.
It's the same menu and everything.
Yeah.
Is it the full versions though? Because it's got history and lifetime and all that, but like it's not like the streaming stuff that's on like Plex, and so there's stuff that's technically streaming, but it's really just looped programming.
Yeah, it's
so
live programming like a Lifetime movie channel. You get all 3 Hallmark channels. You get Weather Channel.
Okay.
I can name them all. Bounce. You get a lot of local channels too.
I'm telling you, he's on their payroll.
I think if you were watching something on A&E or one of those channels, like you said, there's like a couple channels that you liked. I'm like $7 a month. So that's just it. I'm completely reasonable. I don't have a problem paying for stuff. Just don't make it either so expensive that I have to like pick and choose, which, okay, I'm not saying I should have access to everything and it should all be that cheap, but like, it just feels like everything's getting way more expensive very quickly.
Mhm.
And I don't know, maybe I'm feeling, go ahead.
Friendly TV claims to be the most affordable because there's nobody lower than them in the live streaming space at
That's
price
probably
point.
right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I
Who else
wonder
can
if they're,
beat?
well, I wonder if they're losing money, and if so, why would they do that?
They do ad average. They put their own ads in, so they're making money, ad revenue.
Oh, so
Yeah,
it's $7, but there's still ads in it. Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
You'll get like if you're in Florida, you're going to get local ads in Florida.
Gotcha.
I don't really mind ads necessarily. I mean, I don't know. They don't bother me as long as it's not like really annoying ads, and
Or long.
or long ads. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I grew
You know
up
what the
watching.
irony is?
Canada, we
Customized or back to back.
Yeah.
yeah.
Or like
That
back
Like 30-second
ad.
ad is just way too long. I can
Yeah.
see 10 and 15, but 30 seconds is a lifetime, man.
It seems like it. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that was the standard though at one time. 30-second or 1-minute ads.
Well,
Mhm.
it was predictable, so you knew you were going to have a bathroom break or go to the
Right.
kitchen or
Yeah. Right. And also always ended up like on an up note, suspense point. Then you get that's like, oh, go get
It's coming back on quick.
Yeah. Go pour myself another bowl of cereal.
Yeah, and the irony too is that I can't stand ads now, but I'll actually watch like old ads on YouTube on occasion. Like they'll pop up in my feed and I'm like, oh, okay, what, and then you're all nostalgic about, I remember that. And it's like, I'm watching commercials.
I will say I watched some commercials from the 80s and 90s. They're actually entertaining. Although
I think so too.
They want you to buy a lot of sugar though, I noticed. Outside of that, yeah, they're actually entertaining. I think they're funny. The ads are funny. But so Steve's very own. I don't know if he's trolling or if he means this. He says Pluto is pretty lame actually. Now he's an old guy, so I would think that he would like the old stuff. So I don't know. Maybe his face isn't so unpunchable anymore. I don't know.
Hey, well, who owns Pluto? Hey, who owns Pluto? Paramount Plus.
Do they?
Really? Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, there's nothing independent anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, that was fun. It's already time. All right, so if you're gonna try something new out, I know Terry, you're gonna say Friendly TV. Try Friendly TV. I got it because you're gonna make a buck off of it somehow.
Right.
But
no, free 7-day trial. Free 7-day trial
Right,
period
yeah,
for
it's
Friendly TV.
yeah, I know, but he's definitely on the sales roll there. He's got to be. There's no way he is not.
The price point though can't be beaten though.
I'm sure maybe. Yeah, I mean it's for sure. I mean it's $7.99 or $9.99. So if there's a streaming service, what should we try? If there's one you think that we should actually give a shot. I know Friendly TV. Got it, Terry. Does anybody else have anything I want to throw out there?
I would just go to justwatch.com.
Justwatch.com. All right.
Yep.
I don't use anything these days except YouTube and Disney Plus, Twitch. That's it. I use very few things to stream, and my content when I'm, feeling Star Wars like or whatever, majority comes from YouTube. That's the most active thing I use, so that's about it.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Anybody else got anything they think they should try out? Matt, do you have anything? I should try GOG.com, stream all my content from there. Yeah. With the heroic game launcher.
So with the heroic game launcher. No, actually I would recommend trying Crackle if you're gonna go totally free, quote unquote, and you're doing ads. At least it's movies, TV shows, and all that stuff. No account needed. You can watch all the stuff right there. Take what you will. There's TV shows. There's other stuff as well, movies, etc.
Crackle.com.
Crackle.
Crackle.com?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So let's try that. Jinda, do you have anything you should that is recommended in the world of Jinda?
I just said justwatch.com.
Oh, okay. Did you say that already?
That's the one I would go to.
Sorry, apparently I had a stroke. I apologize.
Well, your mic was on, so. Sorry, I had to do it.
Yeah, I haven't.
Everybody was waiting for it.
Yeah, I haven't. You haven't said I'm muted. So
I was gonna say, Jinda, thank you for saying what I do. Every episode I do LOL with Nate. The worst part of the show is when he has his mic on.
I mean, you're not wrong. Allie, is there anything that you would recommend out there? And you said Spotify, something you enjoy?
Pretty much the same YouTube content.
YouTube.
I don't know. I can't think of anything right now.
Yeah. Is there something Canadian we should watch, Ron? Trailer Park Boys?
I've never seen that show. I've never even seen much more than a 5-second clip of it. I should be kicked out.
It's a pretty. I don't know if I would use the term brilliant, but there's something very remarkable about that show. Yeah, I've used many things from Trailer Park Boys now just in my regular lexicon, like it's not rocket appliances, stuff like that.
Actually, I lied. I did see about 20 minutes because the the lead singer for a band from the 80s called Helix appeared on the show. And that fella was actually helping out back in the 80s how to do a fuzz pedal for guitar work to do up the circuit with transistors and what have you. He was pretty green at it. So,
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So I got 20 minutes of that show. Yeah.
So I'm seeing in the chat from Anna Tubi. Is it Tubi.com maybe? I'll check out Tubi TV. I'll just put Tubi TV in the notes here. And it's free. And then Sean says there were VHS recorders that would delete the ads for your recording. Yeah, that's true. I think it would skip over the ads. That's pretty fun. It says just support local TV and watch it with ads included. There are no local TV stations near me. I like to listen to radio.
I was thinking I would try one of the aerials, the antennas, because you can get high definition broadcast TV if you're close enough, or if you can tune it in. It's supposed to be excellent. So
yeah. So
Sirius XM, is that considered that space?
Satellite.
Also?
Yeah, it's satellite TV or satellite radio. Yeah. So Pamina says Hoopla. I don't know Hoopla.
I get it free from the library.
Oh, okay.
It's got audiobooks, television shows, and movies. I don't think it has music. No, just movies, television shows, and audiobooks. And it's actually a lot of interesting stuff on there. There's pretty major movies, and there's stuff on there that isn't on other platforms. They have some more like quirky things. But I get it. You should check your library because I get it free through my library. There's a limit on how much you can take out in a month's time.
Okay.
It's like 4 or 5 titles, something like that. So it's pretty low volume, but it's nice that if there's something you're looking for that isn't on another service, you can just get it there.
I'm typically like watching a movie on a Friday night anyway. If I'm watching a movie, I don't have time during the week.
Yeah.
So, and then Saturday I'm doing this. So that's my entertainment. Now, Anna, I don't think you're allowed to say this, but you say Canadian TV sucks. I think now that's considered like hate speech in Canada. I don't think you can say that.
I have to disagree. Just
JT will be on you like,
yeah.
I've just seen too many good Canadian TV shows.
I know. Yeah. Well, I mean, I just don't think she's allowed to say that though. I think that's like a crime now. Yeah.
I think she means that Canadian TV shows made in Canada suck, but American shows filmed in Canada are pretty good. Something to do with the budget, maybe?
Maybe.
I mean, Letterkenny. I think that's a Canadian show. That's one of my favorites.
When we were a kid, we used to watch Canadian game shows because they would give away like, I don't know, McDonald's coupons and $7.
Yeah,
and the American game shows would give away a car and $30,000.
Yeah, that's about right.
I'm sorry, we used to watch them just laughing our butts off because of what their prizes were, and what they had to do to get them was like next to impossible.
And then Sean, I'm not sure I understand what he's saying here. Maybe you can decipher this for me. It says, or here's a radical thought: read a printed book. What is this printed book you speak of?
I have no idea.
I don't know. Is it? I'm not sure.
Book. What is this?
Book. Is that with words and things? Is that pictures? Actually, speaking
I see
of
words on my screen, so that counts, right?
It does. Speaking of printed books, I have all my old Calvin and Hobbes comic books that I've been reading with my kids. My youngest especially, he thinks they're absolutely hilarious, and they are. And actually, just to I want to bring this up. I have a Nabu personal computer. Does anybody know what a Nabu is? This is a Canadian computer. It had internet before the internet. It of course failed, like most things in Canada. But the it's pretty cool. I have it actually right here behind me. It's got stuff on it right now. But anyway, it's something I'm playing with a little bit here and there. Anyway, very cool thing that was born in Canada, and the internet had the internet before the internet. It was basically like a fat client essentially. It would hook into the cable company and stream all your content, your games, everything. And it's like has a 60. I think it has 68,000 Motorola 68,000. So it's I think similar to. I could be wrong on that. Maybe it's a Z80. I don't know what it has now. Don't quote me on that. But what I do know is that the MSX, it's basically equivalent to an MSX that you would see in Japan as far as performance wise. So
Yeah, pretty sure it's the Z80. I think a few people are trying to get CPM running on it.
Yep, they have. There's a so there's a I can't remember his name, but I watched some of his content. He's at this nabu.ca, I think is the official website. But you can run a local service on there. I built a cable so I can hook it into to go from the DIN connector on the back of it into a serial, which goes into USB to go in my computer, which runs a service to basically serve the content to the Nabu. It's
Wow.
pretty cool. Yeah. Anyway, I got it new in box. It's an old thing probably, and why did I get it? I have no real good reason other than I thought it was neat, as Adam Grubbs would say. So, anyway.
Now, Nate, wasn't it a few episodes ago on LOL where you were talking about you have to be tight with your money and all this other stuff when I was trying to get you to buy stuff?
I bought this a while ago, actually, a few months ago, and I just didn't tell anybody. I kept it quiet. Yep. Well, I said Ben left. I don't know if Ricky, if you want to give your StormOS update. Wait, hold on. Before that, thank you very much, everybody. Check some of those things out. You know, if you want to check out some new stuff, you haven't the things I haven't heard of. JustWatch.com, Craggle.com, Tubi TV. You probably know all the rest we've talked about, but those to me are new, and so I think that's kind of exciting. Thank you very much for everyone for bringing up your streaming services. We didn't talk about the app so much, so that's okay. Another time. The app we would use that is in Chrome, I guess, or Roku. Who knows? Anyway, next week is an open mic night, so if there's anything that you want to carry on from this week into next week, we can bring it up on open mic night. Whatever your topics are, anything that's Linux tech and open source related, even tangentially, like Canadian TV, is on the table for discussion. So if you have any suggestions, be sure to send them to suggestions@linuxsaloon.com, or you can tag myself or Eris or somebody in the Telegram or Discord. I'm not good about checking Discord, but somebody is. And yeah, but we if any suggestions whatsoever, anything, topics, polls, applications, anything you got, fire them away. I'm sure I'll get another suggestion from Terry at some point in time. We got to talk about Friendly TV because that's how he makes his money. All right, so for our community free pour, Ricky, Ben has jetted. He said he had a final exam tomorrow, so I guess it is that time of year for final exams. But what is it? I can't hear you if you talk. It's your something's cut off.
Okay, how about now?
Yes.
Okay. I do have a bit of information about StormOS at this current time. Like I said earlier, there's some stuff going on in the background. What that is I am currently SSH'd into basically what's going to be at some point in time, don't know when, the alpha version of our LFS version of StormOS, where we basically used my gaming rig over here to pretty much put an automated Linux from scratch script or whatever it's called onto it. And for the most part, it's coming along very well. Basically, right now on what I'm doing, basically, since I'm pretty much the code dev, is just getting Fast Fetch installed, because that's one of the programs that we're going to include in it. And then after that, the only thing that's really left to do is Xorg, usual stuff. And then at some point within the next few weeks, maybe a month or so, we will have an alpha build of our StormOS LFS version. So
sweet.
There
Sounds
will be
a lot of work.
There will be, yeah, it's a task, I tell you. I mean, it's basically when you're developing basically a distro, it's trial and error. You basically throw stuff at the wall basically to see what works and what doesn't work. So I just want to say to those who have been waiting patiently for an ISO, thank you so much for your patience. Me and Ben, thank you a lot. Just give us a bit more time, and eventually I can promise you an ISO in one form or another will be released. At least an alpha build, just so we can get, feedback and all that. And then we can pretty much transition into the beta phase, then the final version.
Well, fantastic. Well, very cool. Well, I sounds like you guys have been busy, really cranking away at the old keyboard and doing some amazing things. So I hope you keep at it.
Yep. Thank
you for that. Yeah. All right. Well, is that time for the last call? So thank you all for being here. Really appreciate it. Even you, Matt. Believe it or not. And Eric, I know you do a Distro Hoppers Digest. Is there anything coming up here that you're really excited about?
I
If
do.
you're not excited
Yeah.
about it, that's fine too.
I'm always excited about it. Yeah. Enjoy doing it. Yeah. We are going to record tomorrow, Dale and I.
Mhm.
And then I'll probably have it out hopefully within a week. Sometimes it takes me a little while, but I actually enjoy doing that too. I'm relearning how to edit audio and do that kind of production stuff. So
Are you using
and-
Audacity? I've transitioned
I am
to Tenacity recently.
yeah, well, I record in Tenacity because I like the UI of it while I'm recording. I'm so shallow when it comes to this, like, silly. Like, I just love how certain things look, and the theme in Tenacity is really nice.
Yes.
But I like Audacity has some newer stuff. Like, they've forked it before some of the newer stuff in Tenacity or in Audacity. So yeah, I do the rough cut in Audacity and sort of get it down. And there's some new tools out there, some AI stuff actually that I'm interested in taking a look at. So I may do that for this. Everything I do, I try to turn it into a learning experience, and that's what's fun about all of this is there's always something new out there to discover. So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah. So hopefully that'll be out within a week or so, and yeah. So there you go.
Sweet. The reason I went to Tenacity is because it's Wayland friendly, while Audacity was not. So there's that.
It's a problem because as they diverge from each other, they're going to have different capabilities and strengths and stuff. So will we be at a time where we want both? Maybe. I have both,
Yeah. Only have the one. Somebody else I wanted to plug, Matt. Is there anything you wanted to plug? I know you've done a lot of videos recently. I think you talked about how awesome.
I don't know what videos you're talking about.
I know you like something about how awesome Windows is on handhelds.
Yes, we did a show for LOL where I talked about with me and Wendy where I talked about how awesome Windows was on gaming handheld PCs. It's fantastic.
And by fantastic you mean another word that's kind of like friendly, right?
Yes, that is correct.
Yep. They should probably go back to like the Windows 8 UI for that, I think.
They had a good the short version is they had a good enough UI with the Metro or the Windows Phone UI, Zune UI thing, but they gave it an identity crisis, so hence the reason it never would work, never would work, etc. And I'll leave my thoughts of Windows on a handheld at that because it's painful. Give me Chimera OS, give me Steam OS, give me Bazite, give me anything else but any Windows device because that's running Windows now, and man, is that painful.
I understand. Then we already heard from Ricky. We got doing some live streams coming up as far as doing installs. There's someone who just told me something about how they really enjoy your streams, and they said I don't know why, but I really enjoy watching Ricky install operating systems. So,
well, I mean, it's one of my favorite things that I like to do on my channel, do live installations. And if I also make this little small announcement for my channel, Video distro reviews are returning to my channel very soon.
Oh, good.
I have some plans. I have some plans to bring distro reviews back, as well as some other things that might come down the pipeline. So keep a lookout for a future channel update to get more information.
Excellent. Oh, Ron, I don't know if you had anything you wanted to plug necessarily. No. Terry,
Hooray for Canada.
Hooray for Canada. Okay. Yep. Oh, Canada.
Home of JT.
Justin Timberlake. And let's see. Allie, I don't know if you had anything, or Cruz you want to pipe up. How's your quest going with Linux?
Oh, I still haven't yet to install it on this computer I'm using here. It still has Windows.
Oh, okay.
But I'm gonna get to it eventually. I have to actually put it. Yeah.
That's fine. I'm just glad you joined us.
Hmm.
And Jinda, I know that you've been a little sitting at the bottom of the screen for me. Hope things are okay there. You're not
Yeah,
there.
sorry.
Yeah, down south in the lower quadrant. Well, thanks for being here. Steve's very own. He made some he sent me some message saying, I'm not really doing a whole lot of Linux stuff, so you don't have to plug my show anymore, because it's not Linuxy, it's more OBS related. And I'm like, it's Linux Saloon is my show. I can do whatever I want, so I'm still going to plug your show because I watch it. So if you want to, oh, very good. Adam Grubb says, can't spell Windows without Win. This is true. Can't spell team without me. Yeah, he's been playing with OBS lately. He's been doing some really neat things. So if you want to get some ideas for how to do, cool OBS things, I've been meaning to integrate some things, into OBS, do some more stuff. But I'm afraid that it's going to break. I'll do something and then I'll break it, and then Matt will make fun of me later about it. So I'm trying to avoid that.
Hey, I don't need a reason to make fun of you.
Well, I don't want to give you more ammo.
That's the right answer.
Linux User Space, if you have not checked that out in a while, check it out. It's one of my favorite podcasts. It's what I usually listen to that generally the Monday after it's released. And so you can check that out, linuxuserspace.show. They recently did their LXQt history episode, so they're also planning on doing one on XZ as well. So check that out. I'm on a podcast called Linux Out Loud. I have one fantastic co-host, Wendy, and then there's Matt. Hi, Matt. How's that show going, by the way? What'd you talk about last week? Oh, you weren't there.
I don't know. You tell me.
So we talked about things you don't care about. So Wendy and I, we did a show, Sans Matt. One of the things I brought up was my favorite game of called Descent 3 specifically, has been released to the open source. I'm really excited about it. And what exciting things are to come. Hopefully I can play Descent 3 in something that's not a 4:3 ratio on an ultra wide. They can actually take advantage of larger screens. I'm really hoping that they really juice it up and make it pretty great. So anyway, you can check that out. tuxdigital.com/shows for that. I have a website called keybleNate.com. I write things from time to time, and I've been writing some stuff lately. So you can check that out if you like. Linux Saloon is part of the Tux Digital Network, so check out more great shows at tuxdigital.com. I want to thank you all for your support, however you do it, being part of the conversation, both the Zoom meeting here or in the YouTube chat. So thank you very much, and if you watch this show after the fact, hey, thank you. Also, thank everyone involved in making the Linux open source tools possible for us to not only have this conversation, but also to have fun and enjoy our technology. Linux truly puts personal back in a personal computer, so thank you for stopping by. Be sure to tip your developers, and please remember to Linux responsibly. Until next time, see yas.